How's it going to everybody? Looks like we are live. Looks that way. Welcome back to another episode of Tirade TV. Got a couple of headlines to talk about. Here we go. Hope everybody's doing okay today. Happy Tuesday. Got a couple of headlines to talk about. You know, it's one of those things where it's funny until it's not funny, right? We've seen that a lot lately. Anyways, let's get into it. Hey, wow, they keep doing it to themselves. That's all I can tell you. They keep doing it to themselves. Let me share this with you all. Look at this here. Looky, looky, looky. According to FoxNews.com, Jill Biden says Texas Hispanics as unique as breakfast tacos during San Antonio speech. Yes, indeed. Says First Lady's remarks came during speech to progressive Hispanic voters in San Antonio, Texas, as Biden administration tries to make inroads with Latino community. That's sometimes we can try too hard. I know there's been many times in my life where I tried too hard to do something, um, and it wasn't as genuine as it should have been, because it's really, in most cases, it's not really genuine. It's just a pandering thing, and it seems like that's what this is. It's a pandering thing. They're trying to get Hispanic voters because their Hispanic voter base, talking about the Democratic Party, their Hispanic voter base has been decreasing, basically. I mean, one thing I've always admired about the Hispanic voter base is they don't always fall for the fluff or for the lies, or for the pandering. They know who they are, they're comfortable with who they are, and they don't need someone to tell them who they are. And another thing I love about the Hispanic, base is they don't play victim a lot. They're, like I said, they're comfortable with who they are. But anyways, let's take a look at this. It goes on to say here that, get that up for you. Goes on to say here that First Lady Jill Biden on Monday said the Hispanic community was a unique as breakfast tacos during a speech in San Antonio, Texas, or some people like to say San Antone. I know a lot of people from Texas say San Antone, but it just depends on where you're from. Biden was speaking at a 2022 Unidos U.S. annual conference titled Siempre Adelante, Our Quest for Unity, when she made the remark. Man, this is a wow. At the time, she was commenting on Unidos U.S. President Raul Izaguirre's work. Quote, Raul helped build this organization with the understanding that the diversity of this community, as distinct as bodegas of the Bronx. And when we look at the video, she didn't actually say bodegas. She said something else. Of the Bronx, as beautiful as the blossoms of Miami, and as unique as the breakfast tacos here in San Antonio, is your strength, she said. First of all, I mean, even if you're not pandering to someone, even if you're not desperate, and Mexican food is great, delicious. I mean, some of the best out there, especially when it's authentic. But still, I don't know if I would be comparing someone to a taco. Like that to me is a little bit disrespectful. I mean, there's so many different things in the Hispanic or the Mexican culture you can compare them to, but you chose to compare them to a taco. Should have did better talking about their ability to just their work ethic. They work hard, man. Like Hispanics work hard. Why couldn't she have said that? That would have been a better thing to say. Why could she have not talked about some of the challenges they've overcome over the years and the decades, over the centuries? Why not talk about that? But this lady says that they're as unique as breakfast tacos. It's crazy, man. Oh yeah. The event is the largest gathering of Hispanic advocates, Kins reported. Each year, the Unidos US annual conference is the premier event devoted to the diverse Hispanic community that is moving our country forward, the conference notes on its website. Biden's comments came at a time when the president is seeking to reach out to Hispanic voters who have voiced displeasure with his job performance. And last I checked, I think his approval rating with them is like at what 26, 29%, whatever, which before, I mean, it was like at 55%. Now it's almost half as much. Because let's be honest, Hispanic voters are waking up. They're seeing that, hey, these people, they want to use us for our votes, but they don't really care about us. That's what most Hispanics I speak to. That's what they're starting to see. But goes on to say that in Texas, Republican Maya Flores won a special election for the 34th congressional district in June. That was a seat that Democrats had held for more than a century. So that right there lets you know how Hispanics are, how they're feeling about the current leadership. Says the district, which stretches from San Antonio down to the Rio Grande Valley on the Texas-Mexico border, is mostly Hispanic. And it's amazing how you ignore someone until you need them. And I think the Hispanic voters are kind of seeing that right now. Well, you kind of ignore us until you need us. Same thing with the black community. Although I do think, contrary to popular belief, I think that there are a lot of black people waking up to this. Like I'm the type of person, if I'm at a grocery store, at a mall, at a convenience store, gas station, whatever, I'm the type of person I'll walk up to someone, a complete stranger, and just spark a conversation about what's going on. Usually I start off with the gas prices, and then it goes into inflation, the food prices and everything, and then I'll eventually get over into politics. And one of the lines I always use is, hey, regardless of what side you're voting for, of what side you lean on, right or left, Republican or Democrat, what do you think about the state of our country right now? And most of them are very displeased with what's going on in the country right now and in the world, period. But focusing on the United States, they're very displeased with what's going on right now. And then the conversation leads to, you know, that they're basically in the black community, we feel like that most blacks feel like that regardless of which side, Republican or Democrat, they're all kind of out to get us, to a certain extent. That's what I get from most black people. So, contrary to popular belief, black people, I don't think most of them are, especially men. I would say mostly so the black men, they're not on the side of Biden and Harris. They're not. Now, like I said, this is just from what I hear from every time I speak with other black men and every time I see other black men commenting on social media. The majority of them are not buying this. right? Not buying our current leadership. Not saying that they just are so much in love with Trump or anything, but they're not buying the current leadership, you know. And contrary to popular belief for what you see on the mainstream media would make you feel that every black person in America loves Biden and Harris. That's not the case. And that was shown in the last election, by the way, where many showed that there was an increase in blacks voting for, especially black men, but definitely blacks overall, voting for Republican Party. Like a lot of black people voted for Trump. They don't want black people to know that, but it happened. And the same thing with Hispanic, voters. You know, they feel like, hey, you ignore us until you need us. Now, once you see that the Hispanic, support for the Democratic Party is basically decreasing, now you're reaching out to us, especially in the state where there are a lot of, Hispanic, and that's Texas. But you see what they're doing here. It's pandering. They're desperate right now, basically. They're desperate. Here's a photo here of the said, I guess, the wannabe power couple, the president and first lady. And I keep forgetting that this lady's a doctor. I believe she's a doctor, right? I heard someone comment the other day, yeah, Dr. Biden. I was like, hold up, yeah, is she a doctor? Is she really a doctor? Because some of the things she says is not doctor worthy, but I don't know. I keep forgetting that. Just weird there that you keep forgetting that. And look at this here. This is Mark Rubio, the Florida senator, Senator Rubio. That's basically he changed his Twitter profile picture to an image of a taco, simply writing hashtag new profile pic. So it's like it's disrespectful, but at the same time they're having fun with it because it was back in the day where I think it was back in 2020 where Biden was saying that basically they're implying that blacks and Hispanics don't know how to use the internet or don't know how to use the computers or something, and it was disrespectful. At the same time, people were having fun with it. Same thing here. Sometimes you can try to pander so much, that you end up looking foolish. And that's what's been going on for the past couple of years. Like the Democratic Party has been pandering so much that that is starting to look foolish. Once again, it's kind of like they put their foot in their mouths. Like with the Republican Party, not saying that they're perfect, but they don't quite pander as much. They just put their information out and, you know, you like it, you don't. Well, with the Democratic Party, once again, they're pandering. And me, this is just my personal opinion. This is just how I feel. I would rather you hate me than to pander to me. That's just me. Because if you're pandering to me, it's not genuine. It's not authentic. It's not real. It's fake, basically. Anytime someone's pandering, it's usually fake. But that's just I'd rather you hate me. You see what I'm saying? But that's just my opinion on that. I don't know if you all feel that way. But yeah, I mean it's once again they put their foot in their mouths. But we'll see how that works for them in the end when it comes to the elections and see how that works for them. It doesn't seem to be working too well right now, but they always seem to have a trick up their sleeve. So we'll see. I have for you today. It's been a big issue lately, obviously, as far as like, firearms and Second Amendment rights and everything. And there are a lot of stories out, I'm not gonna say stories, but a lot of um, news coverage, on mass, shootings, mass murders, whatever, which, yeah, those should be covered. But there are many other stories out there where someone's right to, to protect themselves, you know, really came into play where they saved their lives or they saved the lives of others or their family members, whatever. And once again, It happened out in Harris County. And for you who don't know what Harris County is, it's basically the county where Houston is located in Texas. Um, let's take a look at this real fast. I'm gonna share my screen with you here, and it's not many stories like this are reported, and even when they do report them, it's like they don't really. It's like they're not really feeling it. It's like they don't want you to know that having the right to defend yourself actually helps. Is actually a good thing. But let's take a look at this.
A man opens fire on two young men who are allegedly trying to rob that man's home. Our Stephanie Whitfield is live for us this morning with the very latest. Stephanie, what can you tell us?
Good morning. Deputies just left this neighborhood just a few moments ago. They tell us it looks like this all started because two young men tried to rob a family that had two infants in the back seat. Here's what we can tell you at this point. Investigators say the family had just arrived on this street in Northwest Harris County around midnight when the suspects tried to open the doors of their car and they happened to be armed. So we're told he fired several rounds and hit both suspects.
And my
Investigators say
apologies for the
those
internet kind of going slow there. Not for sure what's going on.
would be robbers were picked up and dropped off at the hospital. The family who they allegedly tried to rob was not hurt. Now, detectives just finished gathering evidence and video at this scene to make sure all of those details check out. But back out here live, we're told both suspects are at the hospital and being talked to by detectives. They were told they both may be juveniles and both are
As you can see there, once again, a person's a man exercises his right to defend himself and his family. And first of all, like I said, I apologize for the internet there. Not for sure why it was so um, spotty there, but basically, you have a Houston man who his wife and he had two toddlers or infants in the back seat with him, and two young teenage boys tried to come and basically rob him or do whatever. Now, my question is what would have happened if he wouldn't have had, basically had a firearm on him and exercised his right to defend himself and his family? Who's to say what would have happened? And this is what most people don't realize. People who are anti-gun or anti-Second Amendment, or let's just say this, anti-AR-15 type rifle. You're assuming that every time someone, every confrontation you have with a would-be robber is going to be one person. There's so many times it's multiple, two, three, four, whatever. So if you have a handgun and there are four guys coming to rob you, break into your home, do whatever, yeah, a handgun may be okay, but in that situation, I do believe a rifle would be better, in my opinion. You know, if especially if they're in close quarters, I think yeah, you may be able to defend yourself a little bit with the handgun because the handguns do work better in close quarters. But trust me, just from a fear factor, first of all, if four guys are walking up to you getting ready to rob you and you pull out a rifle, especially an AR-15 style rifle, that's gonna make them step back a little bit. But if you have a handgun, they may think, okay, it's four of us. There's still a chance that we can get this person. And more than likely, most times when someone comes to rob you, they're gonna have a firearm of their own. So to say that an AR-15 style rifle is not needed, yes, it is. Because when someone's trying to harm you, you have to remember it's not always just going to be one person. There are times it can be multiple people. In this situation here, there were two people that basically were trying to harm a man and his family. And thankfully, now I don't know if he had a rifle. I don't think it said, but it may have been a handgun, but still, he exercised his right to defend himself. And if you get gun rights taken away and no one's able to defend themselves, then what would this guy have done? Like I said, he's Houston area man, him and his family just coming home. And two teens basically tried to rob him and his family. And he did what he had to do. So I would say kudos to him. I mean, I feel bad that someone had to be, harmed, had to be shot, but if they would have been shot, who they may have shot the man or his family. And then you had the two little kids in the back. So he did the right thing. But stories like this don't get broadcast enough. They don't get talked about enough in mainstream media, where someone actually uses a firearm to defend someone. Think about this. Let's play the numbers game. There were two people, if I'm not mistaken, that were shot. If he didn't have his firearm and exercise his right to defend himself, there could have possibly been four people shot. The man, his wife, and the two kids that were in the back seat. So if you're looking at it from the number standpoint, two people got shot when four could have. Not to saying two people shot is good thing because one is too many. But what I'm saying is two people were shot when four could have been. Anyways, that's what do you think about? What do y'all think about that? Let me know in the comments. Like I said, stories like this need to be put out more because their mainstream media is so quick to put out when there's a mass shooting, which they should. But I'm saying there should be equal coverage. Just like in Chicago, people in Chicago, especially in the black communities of Chicago, they don't really publicize that a lot. But when a mass shooting happens, oh my goodness, I mean, go look at just 2022 alone, and just look at every weekend and see how many lives are taken in the city of Chicago, especially in the black communities. And yes, most of them are black on black crimes. Let's be honest. I know the black community does not want to admit that, but most of them are black on black crimes, if not all of them are black on black crimes, right? And that's the first thing is, the black community that I can speak, we need to start holding ourselves accountable. Like, stop depending on some politician to come dig you out of this, because obviously the politicians in that area don't care. They don't care. The mayor doesn't care. You know, the governor doesn't care. Like, no one cares. So you have to get in the mindset of, okay, we can't depend on these politicians around the area, talking about Chicago, to get us out of this. So we're gonna have to get ourselves out of it. We can't depend on certain groups, like BLM, to help because they're not helping. So what? But that's just my little, I guess, my little rant or little tirade for the day. But yeah, let me know what you all think about this. Are you tired of the pandering from the Democratic Party, like Jill Biden did down in San Antonio? And are you tired of basically people attacking your right attacking our rights to defend ourselves? And more stories of people saving lives with firearms should be put out on mainstream media. Let me know what you think. But yeah, that's all I have for you for today. And as I always tell you, don't let any mainstream media personality or politician dictate what you do or what you think. Do your research and think for yourselves. See you.